And we are live. Hello and welcome to another benefit of the Doud episode of Doubting Thomas, which is a name that we're kind of phasing out, but we're still running with it just because.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's good for the old schoolers. But
Mm.
anyway, I'm your host Adam Doud, and joining me as always is Mr. Cliff Thomas. How you doing, Cliff?
I'm
The Thomas of my
caffeinated
daddy.
and ready to go.
I need caffeine. I really do. But
Oh,
yeah,
I I'll
what?
talk. I'll talk about it in a bit. Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
of something
okay.
else that's kind of one use kind of thing, sort of maybe.
On topic. Okay, I like it. I like
Mm.
it. So, that's a good way to introduce our topic for the day. We are talking about single-use items and specifically like single-use tech items. Reason being is because I've done some writing recently about items that you would be considered a single-use item and um as and basically what I we should start by defining what I think of as a single use item, which is something that your smartphone can do, but you carry around a separate device to do that instead of using your smartphone. The most obvious example that like I've been reaching for quite a bit recently has been my Kindle. So
Mm.
I reviewed this Kindle, which man, that review kind of made me a little mad because CNN wanted me to review this, and I'm like, okay, well, this is the exact same Kindle that I reviewed 2 years ago. What the heck? And so as it
But
turns
with
out, there's
color,
like
and I don't
no,
mean
it's not.
not a
It's not
color
with color.
screen. No, I
Yeah,
meant
no,
the
no,
actual like chassis has a color now.
no.
That's just
Right, and
standard
so
Paperwhite, right? Like it's just
it's not even a paperwhite. It's just their standard base
standard
model
Kindle.
Kindle.
Okay,
Only now it's $10 more. But I've
like
started to
everything
read
else.
a lot. Yeah, no, I've started to read a lot
Mm.
recently, and if I'm going to pick up my daughter from the store or just taking her somewhere where I'm going to be waiting outside for her to go in and
Mm.
do her thing, I will always make sure to bring my Kindle with me, even though I carry no less than two smartphones with me at all times that are perfectly capable of doing what this thing does.
Right.
But for whatever reason, and I don't know why that is, but I've just started carrying around a Kindle so that I could read, and I
Well,
like,
I will say it's really windy where you live.
okay.
It's just adding that extra weight to your jacket of many pockets so that you don't blow away.
So I
You
don't
know,
blow away. That's
yeah,
that's actually a good point. It's and actually, but see, that's the thing. It's not a lot of weight, and I know it's not a lot of weight because I know I carry it around with me. Like
right, right.
that's actually kind of the appeal of it is it doesn't weigh a lot. So sure, why not? I'll toss it in my bag, and who gives a crap? That's an extra 100 grams or 200 grams or
Right.
whatever it is. No, I don't care. But
It's
and
true.
but I mean, the thing is, the Kindle, like even at this, it's a little bit wider than a smartphone screen, but essentially, I'm not getting like that much more screen area. There's really nothing that this fundamentally does better than my smartphone, except last forever on a charge,
Right.
and that's it. I mean,
Very
that's
true.
really the only thing.
And potentially could be easier on your eyes, depending on the lighting.
Possibly, yeah, that's a good point.
And,
That's a
and
good point.
and sometimes more legible unless maybe you're talking about a TCL with their paper like sort of screen and but again, that's kind of you're probably not carrying that around as like your secondary phone. So yeah. No, but
No,
anyway, yeah.
no,
I
yeah.
see the appeal though. I do. I've been thinking about getting back into reading. It's something I haven't done in years. And
No, me either.
I've never owned an e-ink device other than a Pebble
Okay,
smartwatch, which by the way is
really?
coming
Huh.
back. I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, yeah. That's also could be considered kind of a not a single use item, but kind of a niche item.
It is
But
definitely niche. And they're even talking about making new hardware. Man, congratulations, Mr. Michkovsky. I don't know how to pronounce his last name,
I don't know
the
how
Pebble
to
founder,
pronounce his last name. But yeah, Mr. M,
Mr. Mr.
Mr.
M.
M, or
But
EM as Miriam calls him.
okay, but yeah. So I purchased an Onyx Books Note Air 4. Just rolls off the tongue. But
It
so
really
this is
does.
it really does. But this is definitely a single use device for me. But I'm actually using it at work right now. That was the reason I purchased it, because I have been encouraged by my boss to become more organized. And one that has worked with me in my actual like daily job knows, well, I'm not the necessarily disorganized, but it is something. I have ADHD, and so it is something that I kind of struggle with sometimes. And we're very old school in my job. We everything is like handwritten orders, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen the Onyx Note, Onyx Book Note Air 3, or whatever.
The Onyx whatever. We'll call it the Onyx whatever for the rest of this
The
podcast, and we'll know
right.
what we're talking about.
It's a competitor to the Kindle Scribe, in that it comes with a stylus, and it is e-ink, but it is specifically a Kaleido um, panel, so it's color or black and white depending on what you want to do with it. And like I said, it comes with a
Mhm.
stylus. So what I've done with it is I've set up a note, or I've set up a page that mirrors what we use for taking orders with paper. And so I can just take
Nice.
my orders, and then I've got because it's actually running Android with just their skin on top of it, Android 13, I believe. So relatively, it's got the Play Store and things like that. So I've got it set up to sync with OneDrive, and so I just throw files over there, and then I've got all my paperwork or my um, the orders that I've taken synced with my computer, and then I can also print to our like office copier printer Canon thing if I want to, and give my
That's cool.
boss a copy of it. So yeah, it's worked out really well. It really feels like overkill, but at the same time, I'm gonna start bringing it home because it is very thin and light, and I've got a nice little magnetic cover that goes on it as well. And so I'm gonna start reading with it too, and kind of make it a, I guess, dual purpose in that respect. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it is nice to at least feel like I'm feeling more organized, even if maybe that's just in my own mind, and maybe just to justify the purchase. But
Yeah, no, no, no,
uh,
that's fair. Although I think something could be said for like, digitizing records at your work,
yes,
and
yes,
you could, instead of just a thought, instead of printing out the page and handing it to your boss, you could just say, "I emailed it to you."
that's
No.
not going to work for her. She's
No.
very old
Okay,
school.
fair enough.
This is not because I want to do this. Trust me on this. Was the solution for making it work with
Baby
for
steps.
everybody else.
Baby steps. Okay.
Yes, and
I got it.
because it's Android at its core. I can install some. Maybe I'll start doing. Maybe I can get like Canabar style like Trello like organizational thing going on for orders and stuff. Kanbar, I think that's right.
Kanban is what you're thinking of.
Kanban, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a weird word. I don't know. I just
It
it's
really
there.
is. I don't even know what it means, to be honest, but
Or like
I hear
or
people
I
say it
had
and I
to.
have to smile and nod.
It's probably someone's last name. That would be my guess, but maybe not. Maybe it's some like, yeah, or we will create the Kanban, and this would be good for
Yeah,
everyone. Stay organized. Uh,
exactly. Mm.
so that's probably my like closest to one of my mostly one use kind of device that yes I could do with a smartphone, but I feel like this can do it better, and
Yeah.
plus it's very sexy hardware, and I love writing with a pen on so
Yeah, I've tried that. Like I've really tried because I've actually kind of gotten old school. I've gone back to old school where like I started writing down notes on in paper notebooks when I'm getting like
mm,
briefed on things, and
mhm,
like at CES and upcoming MWC I've started using a paper and pen. Um just because like I was kind of like pounding stuff away like on my laptop or on my phone even sometimes, but it just didn't feel like, I don't know. I guess they're both six of one, half dozen of the other. But I mean,
right,
the notebook could be considered like another single use item that I would be perfectly
sure,
capable of using. But I
sure.
think like,
Moleskin
and
that
I
you
think,
carry around with you and you feel like a hipster. Yeah.
well, we'll talk about why in a little bit. I've got one other thing that I wanted to talk about, like in terms of single use items, which is like the ultimate single use item. Actually have a Panasonic camcorder,
Hi,
like that
2003.
No, 2024, in fact. Panasonic, this just released back in November of 2024. And my first question was like,
Why?
do people still need camcorders? Like, And apparently the answer is yes, because Panasonic made one. So,
Sure.
but when I went on the now famous OnePlus briefing cruise for the OnePlus 13, I took this with me, along with a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and a Pixel 9 Pro and the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I shot footage with all four of them to
Right.
just like, do you really need a camcorder? As it turns out, not really. But I mean, like, the one thing that this offers that none of those other phones offer are the like you really won't be able to see it here, but like
Mhm.
the 48x
Yeah, optical zoom.
optical zoom
Yeah, that's
that you
crazy.
can get, like, just but that's because like
Wow.
this thing is like huge. It fits
It's
in like a normal.
pretty small. I mean, well, it hasn't really gotten any so here's the thing. I used to sell those,
Okay.
back when I worked for Circuit City, along with point and shoot cameras and the like, and I'm just looking at the configuration of it, and it
Just
really
look
has
at this
not
stuff.
changed. It still has the battery that mounts on the back, and you've got your
B-roll.
viewfinder on the side. So I'm guessing just like the sensor quality and things like that has changed. Ooh. You
I
know
feel
it's
like
gotta be
I feel just like Marquez.
you know what has been probably better now is back then the battle days in a way was that back then you had like 4 different kinds of memory, of storage that you
Right,
could buy for it.
right.
And that probably charges with, I'm guessing, USB-C if they're smart
This
anyway.
charges with USB-C,
So
yes.
back then you had a proprietary charger, and
Mhm.
usually it was like one that you had to, can you actually charge it in the camera, or do you have to take it the battery out and
Oh, no,
set it in like a
you can
little
charge it in the
cradle?
camera.
Okay.
I
But you
don't
do have
remember
also the
where.
ability to swap out the batteries too. You can buy another one that's probably using some
Yeah,
standard battery. There's a lot
yeah,
of
very
advantages
true.
to it if you're very focused on video.
If you are very focused on video and one thing that I noticed was while I was using this was so, like, there's a record button back here and then a camera
On the
take a
top.
photo button up
Yep.
here. And so, like, when I was trying to, because I'm a writer, I don't do videos, so I
Mm.
couldn't really show footage side by side. So I needed to take photos in order to
Right,
demonstrate
right.
what I was trying. So, like, every time I would try to shift my grip to put like, I would just completely lose the focus on whatever I was trying to shoot, and it's not the fault of the camcorder; it's a fault of 20
Muscle
years
memory.
of lack of
Yeah,
training,
yeah.
like, to remember, oh yeah, there's a button up here and I need to steady it so that I can push this button. And
You
so, like, it's
you
just
look
it was a
like,
very
you look very, very like, 90s, 2000s dad when you're holding it up that way.
well, right.
"Smile.
But
Hey."
you know what? There's a reason that the Moto Razr comes with a camcorder
Yeah,
mode,
yeah.
and it's the exact same. And that's kind of like, and it's funny because I actually like camcorder mode on a
Mhm.
foldable, and yet when it comes to carrying this thing around, not so much. But I just and I think, and I said we would talk about why in a little bit, and I
Mm,
think especially when it comes to the Kindle, maybe not so much the video camera, but even the video camera to a certain extent. I think the reason that you want to get some type of single use device is for the intention that's behind it. I want to read, so I am going to get my
mm.
Kindle. Not I want to read, so I'm going to pull up the Kindle app and then, oh, there's another email. And then, oh, my wife just texted me. And then, oh, look at that. It's a squirrel. I should take a picture of it. No, I want to read. And that is all that this thing is capable of doing.
So,
And,
it's
yeah.
interesting just on, like, on the
Mm,
macro scale, or the whatever the larger scale is, 10,000 air view, and that is,
yeah.
there is a, what you're talking about is actually a trend with people that are in their early to mid 20s. I forget which, is it Generation Y? I'm not sure, but and even people that are in their
I
teens,
call
and
them
that's,
Generation Why bother.
yeah.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Anyway,
they
yeah.
just lost 5% of our audience.
Yeah,
Um,
it's okay.
but there is a subset of people that are, in their 20s, and maybe even some millennials that are going out and buying things like point and shoot cameras, that are
Hmm.
buying media players like old iPods and using them again and going back to wired earbuds and using camcorders, things that are more single purpose. I don't know if it's the intentionality of it. I don't know if it's because it can't be nostalgia because they didn't grow up with it, right?
Right.
Um, but
How
it's
can you
just
be nostalgic? How can you be nostalgic for something you never knew was a thing?
right. And so I think it's really funny because when I think
Ugh,
about this trend, I always go back to the presentation on the original iPhone with, it's a camera, it's a watch, it's a media, it's an iPod or whatever it was. It was,
right, right.
it's a phone where it's combining all of these things into one thing. And then sort of I feel like in a lot of ways, this is a backlash to sort of
It's a pendulum.
doom scrolling and social media and all of
Yeah,
those things and being more living in the moment. I think that has a lot to do with it. And that's a good thing.
right.
And even using a Kindle, could be called that, the single-use devices kind of thing. Just good luck packing all of that into, something if you're someone who, like you, goes to, like, CES good luck to your back. That is the other
Right,
side of it, so
right. So speaking of which, I got a new bag that I'm going to be testing out at MWC, and
Ooh.
that's making me really nervous right now because like I'm going to be in a different country and I'm not going to have any other bag
Yeah,
options. So
yeah.
like this thing better freaking work. Um, but but no, it's just like it, and it's so weird because again, like I want to read, and so I end up wandering around my house for like 5 minutes, like where was the last place I put down my Kindle, as opposed to just picking up literally any of the dozen
Right.
devices that are within arm's reach that can all do the same thing. And it's just I find that really fascinating.
You know, I
And yeah,
I almost wonder, for some people anyway, if, like, an iPad or an Android tablet, a tablet in general, almost falls into that category. It is not a single use kind of thing, but it's certainly not nearly as for most people, multi-purpose in terms of its intention,
as a
compared to, like, a
smartphone.
smartphone, right? A lot of people
Yeah,
do their
it's
reading and media consumption, and that's about it.
I do a lot of writing on tablets
Hmm.
actually. I got
Well, never
the
mind then, I was just wrong. Just kidding.
no, but you're right. I think what you're doing is you're taking a smartphone and then you're just taking like a whole subset of functions
Yeah,
that the smartphone can do, and you're offloading them to an area where a larger screen can,
right.
really make a difference. It's kind of like smart glasses, really.
Mhm,
Like I've got the X Real ones, I believe. I don't know. I kind of lost track of like X Real branding, but I've got
mhm.
a set of glasses from X Real
The 3,
that
isn't it?
I whichever one's current, I don't know.
I don't know.
Um, I need to check my email again. But I've been using them to do to like take the smartphone and kind of like turn a smartphone into like a computer type
Mhm.
interface using like Samsung DeX, and that is just brilliant for that kind of work. And I very much anticipate the 10 hours that I'm going to be on a plane to go to
Oh, are you
MWC. I'm probably going to be doing a good portion of that wearing these X-ray glasses, possibly doing some writing
hmm,
while I'm in the air.
are you using a Bluetooth keyboard with it, or are you using, like, the floating
Oh, no, I would never do that. No, that would be with the Bluetooth keyboard. Actually,
Yeah,
I took the S25 Ultra, and I paired a Bluetooth keyboard and a mouse, the same Bluetooth keyboard and mouse that I used at CES,
gotcha.
from ProtoArc. They've got that kit,
Yes,
which I'm probably
yes.
gonna take those things again, but I'm not going to take them in that box because the box is just too big.
Yeah,
So I'll probably just take the keyboard and the mouse. And then so I paired those with that, and then I plugged in the X Real glasses, turned on Dex mode, and it like sucked the battery dry on
I bet it
the
did, yeah.
Samsung. But it was actually like a really usable like
Huh,
Windows like experience, and which I was talking to the X Real people. I'm like, I kind of prefer Dex to the Beam Pro because I have the Beam Pro as well.
that's
Because the
that
Beam
so
Pro,
for those who don't know, the Beam Pro is basically it looks like a smartphone, and it's running
yeah,
Android but it doesn't have all the
It
function.
doesn't
It
have
doesn't
the
have
radios
cellular
that you need
radios
to
and things
make.
like that, right?
Yeah, it has like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but it doesn't have like communications capabilities
Yeah.
beyond that.
Friend of the show, Ryan St. Andrew from podcasts
Oh,
in
he
our
loves
past.
his.
Yeah, he got
He
this. Well, he
loves
already
his.
had the X reel, and then he got the Beam for Christmas, and he is definitely an evangelist of it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But anyway, so thank you for explaining that because
Yep.
the other cool thing that the Beam Pro has is it has two cameras on the back, so
Hmm.
you can record spatial video. I haven't actually tried any of that yet, but I think
Hmm.
I'm going to try it out soon just to kind of see, maybe doing some sightseeing in Barcelona. Maybe
Barcelona,
I can
yeah,
in Barcelona. I can
some
do some of that.
Castilian. I'll mention real quick. I don't again. I don't think this falls neatly into the category
That's fine.
as you've defined it, but it is very much one use for me because it just stays in here. This is the 8-bit Do Ultimate controller
Okay.
with
Okay. Yeah.
charging dock. So I've got it unplugged, but you can see so it has a charging dock, just plugs in via USB
Hmm.
C. And the magical part about this is that it has Hall effect joysticks. And
Okay.
so those are using magnets to basically resist each other to instead of using like little rollers inside of or whatever controllers did before. Um, but that is supposed to prevent over time the joystick drift, so that
Oh,
it's
okay.
with joystick or a controller drift, meaning that eventually the accuracy of your gaming sticks becomes less and you can end up like sliding around and things like that. But
Right.
I
Right.
really like it's very affordable. This is the most expensive one that you can buy, and I think I got it from Best Buy for like $50. I mean,
Nice.
An Xbox One controller, a basic one is 39 to 40, and this has a charging dock with it, which is really nice. The one that if you buy an Xbox controller that doesn't have a charging dock, it just uses double A's and it goes through them very quickly. So
Yeah.
shout out
Do
to
you use that
for
for do you use that for computer gaming or
yes.
for phone gaming or okay.
For computer gaming.
Okay.
It is Bluetooth, so you can use it with, I'm just not a big mobile gamer. You and I are opposites on that.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not a big gamer to begin with. I mostly just play NBA Live,
Okay.
with it, so, yeah.
And I mean, like one last single use item that we can talk about is I've got the Playdate, which was I mean,
Nice.
this was pretty hot like a year and a half ago or
Mhm.
maybe even 2 years ago.
There's a
But
waiting list
um
for them forever.
yeah, yeah. And so like I've used it a little bit. I don't know, the games really aren't
That's the
my
one that has
cup of tea. It has
you
the
wind it,
the
right?
crank
Yeah.
on the side of it.
Very
So
cool.
and and the crank is kind of like a controller. So like you can play a surfing game and you
Mhm.
can be like, oh, go down and oh, go back up
Mm.
and so stuff like that. But this is basically a single use item in that you play games with it and that is it. And it's also tiny. It's also very lightweight. What is it running for these days? Is it still
It's like 250 bucks,
200?
isn't it? Yeah.
250? Yeah.
Something like that,
So,
yeah.
um, yeah, this is a single use item that I was kind of intrigued by, and I never really got into it. It's been a while since I've updated it though, so there's probably new games that I should check out.
Now, I
But
wondered,
yeah,
is it basically an emulator, or does it have, like, a game store specific to it that you download games from?
so it has it's not an emulator. It has games that are designed specifically for it, and it sends out there's like a subscription service along with it,
Of
and it
course.
sends out like a packet of new games every month that
Hmm,
you can pick from. And so it's not like really a store, it's more of like a curated gaming
right,
experience.
right,
And then you download the ones that you want, and I think once you download them they're yours forever. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure about the pricing model. It's honestly been probably about 6 months since I last picked it up.
right, right.
So yeah, so probably shouldn't have even mentioned it. But no, it is one of those items though. And like I think the reason that this one didn't catch on was because I didn't like the games as much as I like the mobile games that I play on my phone. So that's probably just why it didn't catch
Yeah.
on. But it is another in that vein of like single use items.
I love the idea of it, the Playdate. I couldn't see myself spending the money when I'm already not a mobile gamer. I feel like it would be a toy that I would get, and I guess I'll just very briefly mention that I also have another like single use I would consider it to be, which would be the Meta Quest 3S.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like the
Okay.
step down from the Quest 3 in terms of resolution, and it's a little more affordable. And it's also my first, if you don't count Google Cardboard, my
Right.
first
We don't.
VR
Don't worry.
experience. Yeah, no. And I tell you, that is, I've always just kind of been dismissive of, like, I've always been much more interested in augmented reality than virtual reality.
Right.
In
Right.
terms of because I'm at heart, I guess, kind of a practical person, money spending aside.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But yeah, it's mind blowing the first time you use VR for gaming, and just the way it completely changes the way you interact with things. And I've only had a chance to play Beat Saber, and then the whatever the late the it came with Batman Arkham something. Say
Yeah.
as part of the bundle that I got, and just doing things like climbing, and you're at like a ladder, and you're actually like reaching up and pulling down, and
Yeah.
it's really cool. My o- my
Yeah. It
only
is.
my only qualm with it, and maybe this is just me, my inexperience with it, because I haven't used it that much just because I've been so busy at work. But I'm just tired when I get home. But switch, I mean, you do have profiles, you can switch between different users, but because of I know there's a way to do it, but like the it's like understanding of your space and the height of the person. It doesn't like prompt you to like kneel down and set the controllers down and then stand back up. I know that's the way you're supposed to do it, but it's very frustrating to throw it on after somebody else has used it, and then everything is just off, like in terms of where it knows where
Well,
everything
especially
is.
because it's you and your daughter, so like there's a like a
Huge
2 foot
difference.
height difference there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have to recalibrate everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be nice if they could like store a user profile or something like that.
Yes. But other than that,
But
it is very cool. So I've enjoyed using it. I got it at Christmas time, and I think once we get a little more time, and maybe I get a few days off, I'll jump into it a little more. But man, the games are expensive for it too.
they are a little bit little pricey on that one.
That's okay.
But yeah, so I think that's I mean, yeah, it's I think that kind of wraps up
Yep.
the gist of what we wanted to talk about here. But it's just I think it's just really interesting to see the pendulum swing back
Hmm.
to launching more single use items as opposed to just like cramming more and more features onto your smartphone. So yeah, that's just kind of what we've been doing for the last few months, and we wanted to talk about it a little bit. If there's any topics that any of you want to hear about, of a tech nature, obviously, because that's who we are. I mean, I guess if you really want to hear us talk about cooking for an hour, we could, but I'm not
Maybe
very good
somehow
at it.
like integrate tech into food or something like that. Like you've got
Yeah, or
the
something.
iGrill and stuff like that. Real. So yeah.
What if we had like an interview show where people ate progressively hotter wings every question that we asked?
We tried to
We should
integrate
look at,
that in
we should look into that and see if
yeah.
we should do a competitive analysis and see if anybody
You
else is doing anything like
yeah,
that.
yeah, that seems like
But
a really good idea, but no one else has thought of that. We actually did try
yeah, crazy,
something along
crazy.
that vein with the
With
OnePlus.
the OnePlus, was it the 12R? I
No,
think
it
it was the
was
12R.
I didn't have the 12. It was the
Mm.
wasn't the 10T, it was my 11. It was the OnePlus 11.
Oh, the OnePlus 11. Okay, it
So I
wasn't that
did
long ago.
I
Okay.
reviewed that while also consuming the one chip challenge.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was funny.
it was something.
It was something. It was something. It was definitely a thing that happened. Anyway, so
Speaking
that's
of
gonna do it
one
for
time one use things.
right. Right. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's going to do it for this particular episode. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. And, if there's anything else you want to hear us talk about,
Yeah.
comment down below. We're all ears. But for now, here comes Mr. Intro. So say hello to Mr. Intro, that's just going to say goodbye to you. Oh, hi there. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, then you obviously liked what you saw. So why not take it a few small steps further? How about you drop a thumbs up on this video and maybe hit that subscribe button?
And while you're there, move that pointer over a few pixels and click the bell. All of that will ensure that we get noticed on the YouTubes, and we can make more of these videos just for you.
And if you want to go even a little bit further, you can head over to patreon.com/benefit of the Doud and sign up for as little as just $2 per month. And for that, you'll get early access to our videos and some bonus content that we don't show on the main channel.
Plus, we're cooking up new perks and benefits all the time. So go to patreon.com/benefit of the Doud and sign up today.
That's patreon.com/benefit of the Doud. And as always, we thank you for watching and for giving us the benefit of the Doud.